The change comes quietly, almost invisibly, just past 40. But you're not alone. Millions of men watch the same story unfold. Wives they thought they knew, women they believed were steady and reliable, suddenly acting like teenagers again, only now with wrinkles on their faces. Everyone sees it, yet everyone pretends to be surprised, as if it wasn't written in their biology from the start. You thought after 15 years together, after raising children and building a home, the foundation was safe, but that was your illusion. Inside every woman's psychology, there is a time bomb. For some, it goes off at 35, for others at 45, but it always goes off. This is not a maybe, this is an inevitability. The only question is, when it explodes, how much damage will it cause? Because the woman you married is not the same woman who crosses 40. It's not about maturity or wisdom. It's about her entire mind, her desires, her identity being rewritten. A woman's sense of self has long been tied to her beauty. At 30, she was content as a mother and wife. At 40, she becomes restless, hungry for validation. That hunger is what destroys the very home you thought was unshakable. It isn't her fault alone. Society programmed her this way since childhood. Your worth is your face, your desirability, your ability to be wanted. From 15 to 35, this programming works flawlessly. Men chase her. Compliments rain down. She feels valuable. And then biology does what it always does. It takes back what it once gave. At 40, she looks in the mirror and doesn't recognize herself. She doesn't look bad, but she doesn't look like her. The face that once turned heads now struggles to hold anyone's gaze. The body that once made men foolish now earns only polite smiles. This is not vanity. This is an identity collapse. Her entire sense of self was built on being desired. Now that desire is evaporating like dew in the sun. Think of an athlete whose entire identity is their sport, only to have age slowly strip away their strength. They can still play, but never like before. Multiply that pain by 10, that is what your wife feels when she sees her beauty fading. And here lies the danger. Instead of accepting nature, modern women panic. They fight reality, and the first casualty in that war is often the marriage. At 22, compliments were just background noise. Yeah, I know I'm hot. But at 42, that same compliment explodes in her brain like dopamine fireworks. Proof she is still in the game. Proof she is not invisible. This is the hidden truth. Married women past 40 become the easiest targets, not because they are evil, but because they are starving for attention, for validation, for the feeling of being wanted again. Your attention doesn't count anymore. You're her husband, locked in, bound by marriage and children. But the stranger at the cafe who smiles, he shakes her entire world because his attention is chosen, not forced. Once she tastes that outside validation, the countdown begins. Not immediately, but slowly, inevitably, because it awakens the memory of being chased, desired, fantasized about. And no steady love can scratch that itch again. The danger zone in marriage begins the moment she remembers her past, not with shame, but with a secret smile. When old boyfriends are recalled, not with disgust, but nostalgia. When stories of her single days return with a sparkle in her eyes, you can be sure the clock is ticking. Biology rewires her brain as she ages. The things that thrilled her at 25 barely whispered to her at 45. What once made her heart race now feels like maintenance work. The romantic dinners, the planned trips, the intimacy you worked years to build, now just background noise. After 40, ordinary life no longer makes her feel alive. She craves extremes. And you are safe, predictable, invisible. At 20, holding hands was enough. At 40, she wants an emotional earthquake. A loyal wife of 15 years can suddenly take steps so cruel you couldn't have imagined them. A mother of 3 runs off with her trainer. A church-going woman falls for her husband's best friend. A picture-perfect wife burns her life down online for a stranger she's never even met. And every husband says the same words. I had no idea. But the signs were always there. You just didn't see them. It begins with nostalgia. Then comes the circle of new friends, often divorced women who become dealers of discontent, whispering that she deserves better. Social media pours gasoline on the fire. Curated lives, transformation stories, women starting over at 40. Every scroll confirms her fear that time is slipping away. Soon come the physical changes. Subtle skin treatments, just trying new hair, little procedures she once swore she'd never do. Then the escalation, obsessive workouts, crash diets, clothes that belong in her daughter's closet. This isn't about beauty anymore. It's about fighting time itself. And finally, the emotional withdrawal. She says she needs space. She needs me time. New commitments, new secrets. The fights become daily, or she becomes unnaturally sweet. Both are bad signs. When she declares you the villain, that's how the story always gets rewritten. The narrative changes overnight. The marriage that once seemed happy, the memories that once felt real, are all painted black. She must convince herself and the world that everything was a lie. Not because it was, but because it's the only way she can justify burning it all down for a fleeting feeling. I once spoke to a man whose wife left him after 18 years. To everyone outside, she told the same script. He was abusive. He was neglectful. I've been unhappy for years. But the man had the evidence. Photos, videos, love letters written just months before she walked out. Smiling vacations, romantic anniversaries, heartfelt messages that didn't look fake at all. 18 years weren't fake. That was the truth. The only lie was the new story she had to invent to protect herself from guilt. She needed to be the hero of her own story. And for that, he had to become the villain. That's how it works. It's not about facts, it's about feelings. And when feelings collapse, reality gets rewritten. Suddenly, she convinces herself she was trapped, that she wasted years, that she deserves more. Society claps, friends cheer, and she steps into her new beginning, not realizing that it's just another loop of desperation dressed up as empowerment. The cruelest part? The husband, the children, the family, everyone else pays the price for her panic, her hunger for validation, her war with aging. And in the end, she's not liberated, she's just alone.